Take it away.
Hello and welcome to Glitch Point. And we haven't been here for a little while, so I'm gonna start this from last week. Does anyone even care about April Fools anymore?
I don't think so. We've gone full circle actually from what I've seen. Like there were a couple years where it was pretty damn good and we got some really funny content. And then this year, and I think maybe last year we didn't get a lot either just cuz like it was a shitty time and it still is. But it seems like this year I have seen more than legitimate April Fools of like companies coming out with something on April Fools and being like, "Oh, haha, funny." And then the next day like, "Oh no, that was real."
Well, there used to be really cool stuff like what was it? The Razer did they do a toaster? I think they did a
Yeah, they
toaster. Then
did a
there's like
toaster.
fridges. Yeah, it was a toaster. And like those things are fun. And as yeah, maybe they become real later on because fans really want to have a toaster made by Razer or something. But yeah, I felt like it came and went, and I like not much happened. I think the only thing I know of is Rick and Morty, or actually Adult Swim, kidified all their shows.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, which is like the most that I heard of. But it felt like I just maybe it's me, maybe I don't care, but it came and went, and I didn't even realize it was happening. Where
Yeah, I
normally something surfaces,
no,
and
I
you're like,
think that
oh,
as years go by, it's starting to go lower and lower, and I'm one I don't give a shit. I honestly don't. I'd rather have a normal day of news. Like it's literally like, oh, time to not go on the internet because no matter what I see, it's just like it's not real. But
well,
eh,
I mean, some people read The Onion, so there is a
that's
fan
yeah,
base out there.
that's true. And I follow on Twitter the hard drive, but like they take
What's the
it.
hard drive?
It's literally like the Onion, but specifically
Oh,
for
okay.
gaming, and it's a Twitter account, and they're phenomenal. But they take it like really hardcore. Like they every time you read it, you're like, that's so obviously fake. And the Onion's pretty good at that as well. And there's definitely been some April Fools in the past where it's like, oh, is this actually one? And you're not sure. And then, like I said, this year, I'm trying to remember what it was, but I swear I saw a couple where people were like, oh, actually, that wasn't an April Fool's joke. And it's like, what the fuck's the like?
Good
We're literally
timing, yeah.
going all around. Like, what's the point of this? Like, I know. Do you know the football player Michael Strahan?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know
like
him.
2 days before he got rid of his like big tooth gap that he's like signaturely had for so long, and everyone was like, "Is this an April Fool's joke?" I still don't know if he actually did it or not, but that was right before April, so who knows? I think he legitimate got rid of it though, so good for him.
And if it is real, it just shows that nobody really gives a shit anymore.
No one does.
And you would think that this year would be prime for April Fools just because everyone's so concentrated on what the hell is going on with the world, and there's just so much crap that's already happened. I feel like tricking people would be pretty easy. I mean, the
Well,
trolls should
yeah,
be out, right?
I think yeah, tricking people is easy, but I think that there's especially in recent years, and maybe this is why it's going down, is the entire idea of fake news and how you can just spread lies throughout the internet. I think that a lot of people are just like fed up and are trying not to do that as much as possible, even as a joke. But I don't
Well, I
know.
mean, even the deep fake technology was used
Yeah, that's true.
comedically for quite a while when it
Yeah,
first came out, and it was really funny to watch some of the deep fakes that people put out. It's scary, sure, but it's still the world we live in, and if we can't be, have a humor about all this stuff, I think that's even worse. If everyone's so serious and miserable that they can't laugh at their own society,
yeah, but
and that's what April Fools
that's
is
kind of
for,
where we're at. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, it definitely was underwhelming because I've liked it in years before. Just kind of the silly things tech companies will do.
I know, like
Uh,
Google this year, and I think they also said last year, like they were outright like we're not doing anything. Like they publicly stated we are not doing April Fools this year.
yeah,
Um, so
which makes you think that they should have.
I know maybe that was their April Fools,
Yeah, well,
but
actually,
yeah, and I mean Google's always like of all the people, or they were for a long time like the lighthearted tech company, and I think that their image is just changing as
well,
time
I
goes
mean,
on.
I
Their
guess you
no,
could
their
say like
image drastically is
actors.
changing.
Yeah, I suppose. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I guess like how so? I mean, because they still kind of represent to me that image of friendliness. I mean, they're still doing, obviously Google still does all the art pieces on its Google front page and using the Google logo. That still goes on. I mean, they kept a lot of it around. I don't.
Well, yeah, I mean, like they're clinging on. I think it's just in, and I think this was in the past 2 or 3 weeks, which was just their, like, I think everyone's known that Google takes all of your data, but like we're starting to get
Yeah,
really transparent, and Apple's forcing everyone's hand on that with their iOS update,
that's true.
um, and which is like it's very odd that it's nice that Apple's the one of the few that's like taking a step of like, no, you have to show everybody what you're tracking. But I know our company's already upset. I know Facebook is annoyed,
Well, I mean,
but
just watching all Zuckerberg, whatever could ever say his last name. But anyways,
yeah,
so watching him on the stand, I mean, there's plenty of clips where you can basically see him just say, "Oh, we'll get back to you. I don't know exactly, Senator, what the data you're speaking of is, or all the."
yeah,
And it just looks really bad for the
it
rest of the tech
does.
community because, yeah, I mean, although I'm a big hater for Facebook,
Yeah,
and but I do think that, yeah, a lot of companies are doing that. It's great that it's actually coming out, and I think that a lot of people think that these tech companies have too much influence. I mean, we went back to our last president and the Twitter stuff, and like that really sent this idea of how much influence should we allow these companies to control, on our society, and now it's all the data that's being sold, and yeah, I don't know. We're just kind of getting screwed here, left and right, where
yeah,
large companies are making a lot of money off of us.
definitely.
Um, but yeah, that's also, when people are upset, that's time for innovation. That's where somebody steps in and comes up with a better solution. Just nobody's done that yet.
Yeah, and I'm wondering because like right now the iOS updates in beta, it's not like publicly out there. So, and they had to do that so that they can, warn developers like, hey, when this drops, you people can literally tell your app to not track you, and then you're screwed.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm gonna be curious of how that goes through. I don't think we'll ever get something like that on Android or inside of like Windows, because I mean, those
I
companies, their money is very focused on user data.
Yeah, but look at how much Apple has forced the hands of the other companies. I mean, talking about Windows, I mean, they're completely changing the way. I mean, they're going to start probably in-housing a lot of their processors, and a lot of other companies are following suit. And a lot of things that Apple's doing, people are realizing is working. and
Well,
and
yeah, I guess I wonder
they're
because
getting a
you're
lot of.
right. They keep pushing people's hands. I'm wondering if the privacy part of this big tech everything in the world, if Apple has enough strength
Well,
to push us in a direction. Because I mean, they've been very privacy focused their whole time, and a lot of people have complained about it in terms of like just annoyances. And I mean, the Apple Store is a good example of like they're so focused on certain things that it becomes annoying as shit.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
another one is like, which I guarantee you will be adopted eventually if it hasn't already in newer phones, is just showing when the camera's in use,
yeah, that
hardware
was
based.
huge.
And that was an Apple thing, and
Yeah.
you know what? That's great. And you know what? The consumer will speak for those things because they like it. It just shows that there's security in the processes that they're using on their phones.
Yeah.
And also with the data, and also being able to opt out and have it be device wide, like these ideas where it's device wide and you can make choices that force apps to utilize the way that you want to use your phone, not the way they want you to use your phone.
Yeah.
you know and that's great. And I do think that there're going to be a lot of movement to try to get basically get people to look at Google or Microsoft in the same way, where
Yeah.
they feel secure inside their ecosystems. I mean, they have to, right? I kind of, maybe, I don't know.
I
Can they
don't
go down
know.
this
I
path
mean, when
without
does
solving
Windows?
that?
I don't think Windows does because they've got that monopolistic well, not they don't have a monopoly, but like they kind of have a monopoly when it comes to like enterprises and gaming. Like you have to have a Windows machine if you want to be a gamer. And like there's a lot of things in the world where it's like you have to have Windows and they can get away with it. That's why Windows can get away with putting ads on your desktop. Like literally in your start menu, there's an advertisement, unless you explicitly. I guess you can explicitly turn it off, but like it's still like mining data. But like they can get away with it because like you don't have any other option. And Google is a prime example of when Apple pushed out this update, I think DuckDuckGo tweeted out, and they were like, "Well, look at all this data that we've like gathered on how much Google stuff," which is just them trying to advertise their
Of
browser.
course, yeah. Of course.
But at the end of the day, as someone who's used DuckDuckGo and like other search engines, they're just not as good as Google. Like, I don't want to support Google and all of their like data tracking or whatever, but like, god damn, that's way better.
Well, they've been around for so much longer. I mean, they've been doing this since the beginning of the internet era, and it shows. You know, they're yes, you're right. When you look for something and you want to find it, you use Google search engine because it will be able to. I think it's just the way that they do links. I think the other people still do it in the old way, and they've iterated over the process so much that searching is a lot different. I mean, the algorithm that goes behind what populates the websites for your search is really complicated. I mean, there's people
Yeah,
that have
and
been.
I'm sure they've got patents on it. And then the other thing that I wish I could figure out, which is like when I go to another search engine, it's like even when I'm not signed in, because like some could argue like, oh, the data that they collect makes your search better. But if I'm like not signed in, no cookies, whatever, like brand new device, it's still better. And I don't know if it's because I've used Google so long that like you definitely learn how to use a search engine even like without you knowing it. You're just like, oh, I can search this phrase and I'll get better results. I don't know if I just have Google's algorithm like ingrained in my brain to be able to search it better, or if it is just a better algorithm. And I think it's just a better algorithm.
It's
You
just a
search
better
the
algorithm.
same phrases across, and like DuckDuckGo is Bing is just like get the fuck out. But DuckDuckGo definitely has gotten really good, and like it's close, but just especially, and I don't know why, maybe just Google's prioritizing certain things, but especially when it comes to programming stuff. When you're trying to find like a Stack Overflow problem, it's Google always finds you the best result compared to DuckDuckGo. And that's the biggest thing I Google is like how to do this thing.
Well, there's a lot of things, and I don't know all of the underlying algorithms, but I know like even one of them is just the health of a link. So like basically
Yeah.
what the reputation of the sites surrounding that site are, and then that elevates you. So which is really is actually how they protect against fake news, which is something that's great because you have to be it's the sites you link to if they're reputable and what's the reputation, and you try to elevate the good reputed sites up. And there's probably like hundreds of different things. There's actually an hour-long YouTube video that they actually did as a commercial. I watched it. You know those commercials that come on that like they're usually about something stupid and they're like hour-long commercials on YouTube.
No.
Yeah, that's right. You
I
pay
have
you
se-
pay
yeah,
for
I haven't
YouTube.
seen that in a
So
long time.
Google did one which was really cool, and it actually was the search engine optimization team or whatever, the people that figure out
Yeah.
how the search engine runs. And they went over basically the hardships that they have dealt with over the years. Like, there was a big controversy with their predictive searches, where they were you could make them say things that were very racist. Like you would
Yeah.
put in the Holocaust, and then what it would choose because people were searching it doesn't exist. So that would be the top suggestion when you write in the Holocaust as a predictive, and they had to like, oh well, now how do we evaluate that? Now what do we do to try? And I think they put this out there to try to, because it was a time when fake news was really big in society, and they wanted to say, hey, you know what? We've been working on this problem for quite a long time. We got this.
Yeah,
And
and
it feels like
I
that.
think the other thing that I don't know why I didn't think of this till now, which is just the fact that since everybody's using Google, it's better. Like when someone searches
That's
a
true.
similar phrase as me and they click on that top link, it starts to build like the engine's like, oh, lots of people when they search something similar to this go to this website, so we're gonna put that on top. And I don't think DuckDuckGo and other ones are doing that because they're so like we don't track anything, and or they just don't have the same. Not as many people use DuckDuckGo. They have no idea what the fuck that even is.
Yeah.
So.
And we can explain it. DuckDuckGo is basically a site that doesn't track your history. So and you can get it as a full browser. Like you can go to DuckDuckGo.com, but if you get it to the full browser, there's no tracking whatsoever. I wouldn't. I mean, this is good. I would use a VPN if you really want to not
Yeah.
be anonymous. But it's a good start, because at least they have dedicated to not allowing sites like Facebook and other, like, they will tell you when other sites are trying to track your data and they'll stop it, which is really nice. And it makes you a little bit more aware of what's going on the internet. But yes, I only used DuckDuckGo for porn. I mean,
it,
let's just be fucking honest here.
it's funny because I was trying to explain this to my father, and I've noticed this with a lot of other people too that aren't like really into computers. Like they're not like completely oblivious, but they know stuff. That the idea of a search engine in a browser, that is not something that most people know. That
Yeah.
is knowledge that like Google is just a thing. Like it's not even like a browser, and it was difficult to explain this to someone that like you can have Google inside of a different browser, and like Google Chrome is not the way to access Google like
Yeah.
at all. It's strange, but
Well, I mean, there are, I don't know what's still out there, but just the fact that, I mean, there used to be like Ask Jeeves, and like there used to be like a ton of different search engines that you
yeah.
could utilize.
I mean now
And
it's Google and DuckDuckGo really. There's other
well, I think
ones.
only reason DuckDuckGo exists is because people want their privacy. It's because of porn. I mean, let's just freaking be serious. DuckDuckGo would not exist if there wasn't porn out there, because everyone would be like, "Fine, Google's the best." Because you're right, their search algorithm is just not very good. And then, so you'd use Google, but on those salty nights.
Oh, Jesus. So yeah, the ones that Apple is like built into the phone of like you can choose, which is Google, Yahoo, fuck uses Yahoo anymore, Bing of course, and then DuckDuckGo, and something called a Kosha.
What is a kosha?
I looked it up when I saw that
I've never heard
DuckDuckGo
of that.
tweet because I went to change. And I was like, the hell is this? It's like an open source, the search engine that plants trees. Okay,
Oh, I've actually heard of this. I know exactly
plant
what you're
trees
talking
with your
about.
searches for free. Yeah, I
Yeah, yeah.
do they really do that though? Like, where are they planting these trees?
Well, I mean, there's a lot going on again. There's another drive for this carbon neutral push, which
I
I
know.
remember hearing about this heavily in the early 2000s and like mid 2000s. Was this idea of carbon offsets when they became, because when they actually started to exist, I think that before that there weren't carbon offsets. I don't know. I don't know the history of carbon offsets, but now I've seen a lot of things that are carbon offsets are like making a comeback. Which is cool. And it's really nice, the idea that you can spend money to plant trees or whatever to kind of off put the carbon that's in your life. And there's like this, I forget what the site was, but it calculates all your carbon usage, and then you can see how much offsets you need to do in order to like become carbon neutral as an individual.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I mean I think a lot of companies are everyone's going to push into be carbon neutral, which is like great. I mean, we're running
but there's
low,
tax
but
incentives for that, right? I feel like
yeah,
there's
and I
got
know a lot of other companies are pushing to once they've hit neutral to be what is it, carbon positive, where like they're taking out more carbon than they've ever put. I think Microsoft said by 2030 they'll be carbon positive, which means they've like eliminated more carbon than they've ever put out as a company ever, which is
well,
drastic. That's drastic. I mean, they've been around for
yeah,
a
but they're
while, so that's
in-housing
really
their
good.
processors soon. So isn't that going to be more carbon? Did
I
they
don't know, and
did they
you have to
calculate that in their
you'd have to
statement?
ask Apple. I mean, they've Apple's definitely been at the forefront for that because I know that their campus is 100% self-sustaining energy.
Yeah, but I would imagine
Um,
the M1 chip created more carbon in their carbon footprint, right? I mean, just developing the
well,
M1 and now the M2.
yeah, I mean, it depends on like how they're doing it and like if they're using clean energy to do that. I
Are
don't
you
know.
responsible for like before they use the M1, or now they responsible for Intel's carbon,
Yeah, see,
footprint?
I don't think
Because
they were.
Intel's in their devices, so they should be responsible. And so like, how does this even work? It
I
just
have
seems
absolutely no idea.
a lot of marketing. It just seems
Oh
like
yeah,
there's a
it
lot of
definitely
marketing
is.
going on.
Hopefully,
And
it
and
means something one day, but
yeah, and I think for businesses, it really does come down to if you meet the code or whatever to get tax write-offs for your business, because then you end up saving a lot of money.
yeah,
The goodness of the heart thing is great, but I don't think
yeah,
that's always the
no.
reason why people do stuff.
No, I mean you can. I mean, Apple's a prime example of like they when they took out the chargers for their phones. Like when you buy it, you don't get a charger with it, and they were like, "Look at how much carbon we're saving. Like how much e-waste is not created because most people throw those out anyways." And everyone's like, "Okay, bud."
Yeah, exactly. You're just saving money on every single, on your manufacturing.
Exactly.
It was like when remember when Subway, I think it was, they didn't actually create 6 inch
Oh
or
yeah,
they weren't the foot long. They were like, what was it, like
it was
five
like
inches and something?
yeah, it's just bullshit.
And
Yeah,
it's
oh
because
yeah,
they could save a little bit on each sandwich.
yeah, they said that, and then people were like, "This is bullshit. It's a foot long." And they literally, and this is the funniest
uh,
shit in my head ever. They were like, "No, no, no, no. It's not called a foot space long. It's not a foot long sandwich." They literally were like, "We have trademarked the phrase foot long, a single word. That's the sandwich. It's a foot long sandwich, not a sandwich that is a foot long."
it would be
That's how
funny
they
if
got out of
it's
it.
in the
That's how it wasn't
dictionary.
false advertising. Like they didn't get sued because they could say they trademarked that phrase.
It would be like if you open up the dictionary and then foot longs there, it's like 5 inches, five, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Jeez.
Okay, well, is there anything else going on in the world? The only
There
thing that's
was there was
go
some
ahead.
shit from Sony earlier or later last week, and they got a lot of hate, which ended really quickly because the internet moves fast. But there were reports that Sony has been in general not been on the positive side because of the whole PS3 servers and people complaining now that the PS3 there's games that can't get patches, which like I don't realize how people didn't realize that was going to happen.
Oh, with the servers
Like
being down.
yeah, I was like that's exactly what the problem was.
Are there
Whatever.
do games need patches? I mean, they've been around
On
for
the
so long.
PS3, yeah. There's probably some games
Why?
that
But
really need
haven't they
patches.
been around forever? And
Well, no, no,
ever?
no, no. Yeah, but like if I go get a new game, like I can't now download that. Like if the
Oh,
game needed a patch,
yeah, I
I
see what
can
you're
no
saying. I
longer
see what
play
you're
that
saying.
game.
Not
But
new patches
anyways,
coming out. I gotcha.
that was minor stuff that they dealt with. But the bigger one was there was a report out that Sony is internally favoring big titles to make money, which makes sense. They're not really wanting to experiment with new games anymore. And that came out because there was rumor they were told that they're trying to remake The Last of Us
Yeah, I saw
with the
that.
new studio, and people are like, "What the fuck, guys?" Which
That's
I don't
admirable. I mean, what does remake mean though? It just means like
like not
getting.
remaster, like just a new one. Like,
Oh,
and I'm like, because it's an established IP, and they're just like, and it's just to redo the
interesting.
first one, and I'm like, what it sounds like is they were like, "Hey, Naughty Dog, can you just keep making these? It makes a lot of money." And they were like, "No, because we're done with the story because it's over." And Sony's like, "Okay, we're gonna go find someone else to do it because they own the IP."
Yeah, that sucks. I mean, a
Which
remaster is
that's what Halo
great.
did, but it's
Yeah.
rough with not Last of Us. Like it definitely was a game, and it is a game. It's like that the story's done. What else are
Well,
you gonna
they're
tell in that?
they're also making what is this, in a TV show or a movie or something?
Yeah, HBO show, I
Yeah,
think.
HBO show. So I mean,
Yeah,
like it is an established world, and yeah, you don't want to mess with because people really love the first one. I mean, anybody that had problems with the second one loves the first one for some reason. I
yeah.
love the second one, but
So did
uh,
I.
I like I love the first one too. I thought it was really interesting. I mean, there were definitely flaws, but I played through both games, and both were long. And that says everything for me. If I can actually finish the
Yeah, and
game, it's good.
I think people are starting to see that when you change the head of a company, things change, and we're seeing that now because throughout the PS4's life, I can't remember who was in charge of PlayStation, but I think the entire industry can agree that PlayStation kicked ass all generation with like letting their developers be whatever they want to be, make the games they want to make, and they just kept pushing out great game after great game. And then
Which is why
round
they even exist right now.
yeah, and then they were so great because and that's Xbox is like, okay, we have to do what they do. We have to go get studios, we have to treat them well, we have to make good games. And they went and did that. Well, they haven't made the games yet, but like they've done everything but publish new games from these people. And then they have a new guy, Jim Ryan, at the head of Sony. And since then, I mean, we've got the PS5, and it is starting to feel like Sony's starting to lose track of what made them not lose last generation. And I
Yeah.
think Jim Ryan's starting to like, we got to push to the next generation, and like, yeah, we got to be a lot safer, which is not what you want to hear when Xbox is out here doing crazy shit all of the time
Well,
and letting
speaking of,
studios make these tiny games. Like they published a new Battletoads from some random studio we've never even heard of. That's the Sony apparently is not liking that idea at all.
yeah, speaking of, and this is where I think they dropped the ball. And for my non like really into games friends that just play a couple games, allowing the show to go onto onto the Xbox Game Pass, and
That what the
especially oh my
fuck?
God,
It
you
made
know
no sense.
because there are so many people that would buy PS5s based just for that game,
Yeah, so like
especially since
I understand why it couldn't go. It had to stop being exclusive. Like it sucks for Sony, but like the
why?
MLB stepped in. The MLB
Well,
stepped in.
the ML, yeah, that's right, they
For
did step,
that
but
purpose in general, that's why it went non-exclusive. And I think for everyone, they were like, okay, that's fine. Bigger player bases, like it's gonna be okay. I don't know why the fuck they put it on Game Pass, and they don't even put it on PlayStation Now. Which there are rumors Sony's having a Game Pass alternative, and maybe they're just waiting to debut it there. But like, it looks so weird that Sony has a game on Game Pass, and especially because
it's
as
Game Pass day one too.
I know, and for me, like I've played the show and I've wanted it on Xbox for a while, but this generation I was like, wow, they're finally coming to Xbox, but I'm gonna buy it on PlayStation 5 because of the controller and like I just kind of want to play it there. And then they announced this, and I'm like, I'm not. I have to just play it on Xbox. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
buy the game if it's gonna be just over there. And it's like,
for
I
free.
who the
You're already
hell
paying
is
for it.
going to play on the PS5?
Well, I mean, people that
Unless
don't
that's
have
all
both
you've
consoles,
got.
yeah, that's
But
all you
like,
got.
if it's on Game Pass, that means I believe it's also on like an Xbox One. Like,
But I mean,
that's
it
insane.
it seems silly because it's not the game that we always talk about. When we say the games that are exclusive, how PlayStation won the exclusive battles, but the show was a big game to be exclusively on PlayStation. Especially since it's the only one that has the MLB contract, and it just I feel like they lost a big hitter. But
Yeah,
yeah, to letting this. I mean, I know the MLB stepped in, but I still it just kind of that's going to be a big nail in
yeah.
their
I'm
console.
curious. There's a lot to like unpack in this decision, and I'm wondering how much Sony had to say in it because I know that they published the game. I don't know how much MLB had to say about it because like when you think about it, every other sports game is on Game Pass. All of EA's is on there
Yeah,
and everything. So for the MLB, they've been dealing with a identity crisis of like losing the youth and wanting to be more in pop culture like football is and basketball. So I think for them, they're like that's one reason that drove them to trying to put this on all platforms is because they've been making a lot of changes to the game of baseball to try to get it out to more people and get people watching it again.
yeah.
And this is a huge way to do that. And there's a chance that the MLB was like, we want it on Game Pass. I don't know if they even know what the fuck Game Pass is, but they're the reason it's on Game Pass. And they were like, Sony, if you want it on yours, you got to go put it on yours. And Sony's like, well, we don't want to do PlayStation Now because maybe they're in the middle of their own explanation. But I don't think Sony sat there and was like, yeah, let's go to Game Pass.
Yeah,
Or maybe Sony's sitting there like, wow, Game Pass is awesome. We can make money.
it is awesome. I
Maybe.
mean,
I don't know.
that actually, I mean, that's how I feel about it. It's just the way it functions on multiple devices. I don't actually have no idea how many devices it's on now. I haven't looked for a long time, but and I don't play it on my phone anymore. But just when I did, it before I had the Xbox Series X, I used to play it on my phone, and I was super happy with it. I haven't needed to do that, but for somebody that doesn't have the newer consoles or doesn't have a console, that's reaching so many users. I told everybody that had an Android device, you got to download this. If
Yeah.
you don't have the consoles, just try it out, and you'll fall in love with it because it works. It just freaking works, which is super amazing. Um, I mean, yeah, there are problems. There's sometimes connectivity problems, but I was very surprised, and I can only imagine with them moving over to the S consoles in their array of servers. So basically, the servers are no longer going to be the Xbox One; they're going to be the Xbox Series S's, right? S's? I think it's an S.
Maybe. Yeah. Well, I mean, the
Is it an X or
processors
an
between the
S?
two are the same,
Yeah,
so
I guess you're right. But no,
I
but they're
don't know.
actually. It's not just the processor though. It's like it's all the hardware, right? Because that way it can mimic the hardware.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the. I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't do the S, but maybe they would do the X's. I don't know. That I don't know
Yeah.
about. But either way, it's going to be an array of new consoles that's going to make up the servers. So, and that's happening right now, or if it hasn't already happened, there's been promises that I've heard here and there that it's pretty soon that we're going to switch over and we're going to see a lot of.
Oh, it's going to be Series X.
It is Series X.
Yeah.
Okay, which is awesome. Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, why not? I just thought they might save money on the S's, but
I think
um,
that Xbox is doing so well that they're going to really double down on this xCloud thing.
Yeah, and that's just going to make the games run faster because that was the only problem I had was a lot of the load times were fucking shit because they were on old console hardware, and so they just didn't do very well. And that's supposed to be solved with the new servers that are coming up, and
Yeah.
just I don't know. I mean, it just seems like they're dominating, and now if they're going to start following Apple, if Microsoft's going to start following Apple, and taking their best hits and bringing them in house, then I just really excited. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah,
it just makes me want to know what Sony's trying to do because if they're going to be playing it safe this generation, that's pretty sad. But,
yeah.
if it ain't broke, don't fix it, I suppose. But that's how you get lost.
I mean, have we always had three com- competitors? It's always been three, right?
I mean,
Sony.
there was a period of four, but like once Sega died, yeah, it's been three.
Well, I mean, like we always had something, right? There was always like even Neo Geo or like any of the other crazy
Yeah,
off
I mean there was nothing that was
Jaguar.
like super in there because like you could argue like even with the NES and the Genesis or the yeah, I guess a small period of time before the Super Nintendo came out. Like Atari definitely always had something there, but like I would say it wasn't there was someone trying to be the third one until Sony was like finally the one who stepped in. Cuz yeah, you had all of those third ones like the TurboGrafx and the 3DOs, but like they never were as big. But Sony
Yeah,
got big. And then I think since then Sony took the place of Sega and then Xbox took the place. Well, I guess Xbox took the place of Sega.
yeah. Well, the big thing that might bring Sony back into the field is their VR headset. Um,
Yeah,
if
that's
that's
true.
killer, and it because VR is really popping off now with the Quest 2, and it's getting into and again hate Facebook, but I recommend that stupid headset to everybody because it kills me. But when there's good tech out there, I have to bow down to it, and it is really good tech. It's not going to be the best looking thing, but just I think the accessibility of it. But and
Yeah.
and that's why I'm hoping like PlayStation will come around and bring something that hopefully will sell their consoles, but will also bring another VR choice into the market. Um, so we'll see. I mean,
I wonder what they're gonna do with price point because I mean something that Jim Ryan was very focused on with the PS5 and was they want it to be a luxury brand like they want it to be a higher quality brand and the PlayStation brand in general should be higher quality in their eyes so which is fine um, but I don't know if that means that I mean it's already a $500 price point to get a PS5 oh 400 if you get the digital one if you can find one
if you can find.
yeah, so I don't know if it's gonna just like cost another console because the PSVR was like $300, $400, right?
Well, they did the PSVR though right around the half consoles, so
Yeah,
it really one sold the other. It came out definitely before it, but I know that once it came out, the half consoles were a lot of their advertising was to be like, okay, well, this is a better VR experience if you get the half console.
yeah,
Uh,
and I think that was smart of them because they were like they waited until they had a huge install base that they could be like, hey, we'll just add this on, and they don't
yeah,
have that right now. They
yeah.
like is they're everyone's struggling just to get a damn console. So
Well,
but I don't know how far out they are. They are slowly eking out stuff about it.
I feel like the need's still there. I feel like they haven't the marketplace, that they control hasn't really been actualized.
Yeah.
You could say that is for all the consoles and actually for all hardware and everything on the planet right now. But I keep seeing that they're the leaders right now. I haven't looked at any numbers, but I've definitely seen articles where they're presumably the leaders in the console sales. I don't know if that's true. I wouldn't be surprised. I think that our original assumption of, well, since you can play XCloud on any device, is there really a reason to own a Xbox Series X? I mean, for us, we like it because it has a lot. Changing games is great. It has a lot of features and it looks great. It looks great on the TV, but for a lot of people, they're like, oh, well, the games. We'll go with PlayStation, and I can always just play uh, XCloud games on my phone or
Yeah.
something. Or I mean, I think the last thing they produced was, and I don't know if it came out, but it was going to be browser based because of all the Apple stuff. And so I don't know if that's out yet, but
I
I
know
think
it's
that's
close. Last time I
is it
read about it,
close?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I stopped paying attention, so I don't really even know. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Um,
Yeah, and Xbox is apparently a couple in the news. Is there's rumors that Xbox and Nintendo were gonna reveal something. I don't know how big or small. But it's super duper speculative. Although someone said that it's something with the Nintendo Xbox because there was some stream that Xbox did, and Phil Spencer's known for teasing things anytime he's on camera, either the T-shirt he's wearing or stuff in his background. Now that everyone's from home, and he had Nintendo stuff in the back, and apparently Kojima stuff, like Kojima Productions, which is odd
yeah.
to just kind of have. But I really am just waiting for the day that Xbox Game Pass or XCloud is just on the Switch.
Yeah, that would be ridiculous. I maybe it's their answer. I mean, we've talked about this a lot in the past of what is Nintendo's answer to this, and especially with them toting their next hardware, which is just basically it feels like a half console because all it's doing is allowing for 4K. The dock is 4K.
Yeah.
I think the screen's better too, and definitely a lot of, but the library is the same. So I always figure it's a half console if it's sharing the same library as the previous console. you know, but if it has its own games,
what about the Series X? Is that a half console then?
No, because there's games that you cannot play on the one that you can play on the Series. Once it has its own games.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there definitely are. There are exclusive games to the Series X.
I thought we haven't hit that point yet.
There's got to be one. I know there's one. I know Halo will be, but I don't know if
that's going to be on Xbox One too.
There's got to be an exclusive game that you can only play.
Let's see. So those are games coming in 2021. I don't think we've had one yet.
Well, there's going to be.
Yeah, there will be a point. I don't know when that point will be.
That's so odd. You're right. It's getting a little gray.
It's getting gray.
Yeah, but there should be at some point in time, as long as there's one in the entire lineup, then I would say it's not a half console.
Well, I mean, Nintendo's done this type of thing before, and they've said, "Fuck it, let's just make games only for," which is the 3DS. Was it the new 3DS? When they came out with that, there were games only playable on that. Even though it literally felt like just a small upgrade. They were
there?
No.
You could only play them on the new. Then it's its own console. If you can only play it on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the new 3DS was like its own. It's really weird. I think they're gonna try to do what they did with DS's for the Switch. I think that they're just gonna double down.
Yeah.
And I think that Xbox putting a cut on there would be like them checking the box of and portable console done. I know they have phones, but so maybe they wouldn't. I don't know. I think that's a Nintendo question.
Well, again, if you have a browser,
yeah,
does it really fucking matter? I mean, this is thanks for Apple for letting us circumvent literally every marketplace. Because if you have a browser, you can play all the games on there, and that's fine. And there's no stopping that. So, just put a little web app around that, and you're good to go.
Yeah, could do that.
Yeah. So yeah, something's got to happen between these companies because it's definitely showing there's definitely a lead. Microsoft's taking a lead in the console war right now. And the one thing I was gonna say is, and I don't know, and there's been a lot of things that I've read that have been predictive is, with Nintendo's the AR version of Mario Kart, I could see that would be I think that would be their smart move if they were going to do another console or do something else that kind of puts them back in the forefront is hitting AR before everyone else does, because nobody else is going to hit AR on the game console. The only one that's going to hit AR right now is Apple, which doesn't even do games, but is going to hit it more on an enterprise side of things, I would imagine. I mean, there will be games for AR, but
yeah, I mean Apple's weird because they weren't game centric, and then they made Apple Arcade, which was weird, and then they kind of forgot about it. It felt, and then out of nowhere, a week ago, they put out a huge update for Apple Arcade, which added. And it was very smart. They added a ton of classic games that came out when iPhones were first coming out, and older Android games that were Fruit Ninja, the super popular games everybody played. And it was smart to kind of put those on there. So
And that's just for the Apple cell phones, right? The iOS or the.
you can play them on a Mac if you have the M1 chip too.
Oh yeah, that's right. The M1 is yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
that
yeah,
makes
pretty
sense.
much.
You know what my favorite game of all time was, and it's so old, and I don't know if it's
What?
still accessible. Is that one where you're like a paper airplane and you're flying through the house, and then there's little grates that like air comes up and it pushes your paper airplane up, and then you have to see how far you can get. And there's like little bat. It's a 2D scroller, but you're in. It's all.
Huh.
It was a built-in game on like I don't know really old Macs
Interesting.
computers. I love that game, man. I used to. I hope they put that on other devices and bring that back. It kind of feels like it's the Pixar light, the desk light lamp.
Yeah,
Like that's their
interesting.
Pixar desk lamp, and they
Huh.
kind of abandoned it and left it. But it used to be on everything, and I always loved that. It was like their Minesweeper, but yeah. Anyways, hopefully they don't let that one slide because it's a good time for those that owned old Mac devices. Um, so yeah, I guess for another thing, Domino's is doing an autonomous pizza delivery, but only in Texas, Houston, Texas.
Of course, it's only in Texas.
Isn't it crazy though that like
Like, what do you
for
mean? Like, what do you mean fully autonomous pizza delivery?
fully whatever you
Like a
like
Tesla just drives up, the pizza's
well,
driving?
it's an ugly Tesla, but it's like more like a little like bubble van with nobody in it, and then it has a little compartment that has your pizza in it, and that opens up, and you grab your pizza, and you close it.
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah. So, which is, it's like it's been a crazy ride for Domino's. Their stock like went through the roof, and I feel like this is part of that. Like they made so much money because of COVID that they're able to now put autonomous vehicles out on the road.
Well, I mean, I think they had all the things going for them. Like Papa John's had his fucking shit go down, and
Yeah.
that whole brand just fell apart. And then it was like COVID. So like I think if Papa John's could have not done what he did, they could
Yeah.
have been really riding right now. And I don't know how well Pizza Hut's doing, but I imagine both of those places are doing great. And I
It
think
just seems like
Domino's is doing better.
Domino's is killing it. They're
I
always in the
think they're more
news.
modern.
Something positive is always going on with Domino's. It's like, all
Yeah,
right.
they're really pushing it. And like I think that Pizza Hut's riding the wave. They're just like, all right, it's it ain't broke, don't fix it. They're just kind of going, but Domino's is fighting.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Domino's is Xbox, Sony's Pizza Hut. Sorry to say.
I'm excited. I mean, it's funny that Domino's is pushing a ton because in order to do this, there's a lot that has to happen. And I guess the Transportation Committee or the U.S. Department of Transportation has sanctioned this. So they went
How?
through, and it's Domino's. It's not even Tesla. Like I get Tesla probably has, or Elon Musk has his little fingers in political systems to get this shit done, but Domino's got it done.
Well, I mean,
You know?
I mean, he's been trying to get Teslas drivable on residential roads for a while, and it's still not okay. Like,
Yeah,
you get to beta, and actually, that was a surprise. Was for a while, highway driving was like pretty well off, and then it was like only if you were in beta could you do the residential, and it was like you really had to make sure you were responsible. And apparently, he did not, and just Tesla did not enjoy how many people were abusing that, and they took away the beta from thousands and thousands of people,
yeah.
which is good if they're just abusing it. But I don't know how Domino's, like, when is this gonna debut? I can't even eat
Now,
Domino's
like
anymore.
like now, they are testing it out in Houston, Texas, right now.
Fucking Houston,
So
man.
yeah, I
If
know.
literally if I eat Domino's, my stomach's gonna kill itself.
Yeah, yeah,
It's nothing to them. It tastes good. Like every time I'm eating it, I'm happy in the moment, but like, oof, the next day, not
yeah.
happy.
Domino's is not the best. I mean, they're definitely a McDonald's of pizza,
Oh
but
yeah.
so is Pizza Hut and
Oh,
all the.
no.
I mean,
Any of those types of pizzas, I just can't eat anymore. I'll just die.
yeah, I mean, but that's the pizza we grew up on. Like when we were kids, and I don't know if that's
Oh,
the
that
case
stuff
anymore
slapped.
because our generation, at least as we became older, and we have a little bit better palate, like than I don't feel like I'm gonna feed my kids Domino's. I'll find something else.
No, there's definitely been a really strong push in the 2010s for more organic and healthier eating. And especially in that millennial generation, I think just a lot of us are like, nah, we can eat a little better.
But dude, This just shows that we're in the minority. People are eating Domino's.
That's true. Well, it all comes down to convenience, and the reason why we're in the minority here is because
What is?
eating healthy is convenient for us where
I
we live.
disagree because I think there's no difference between calling a place that isn't Domino's to deliver your pizza and calling Domino's to live. What is the convenience?
What do you mean? I meant
So
like
what is the process of going through? And so what do you go? You grab your phone, right? You look up pizza near me or Domino's near me. That's it. That's literally the only difference.
no, no,
And then
that's
you call them and you order your pizza. There's no reason for people to be picking Domino's over something else, but yet they still pick it.
well, that's what I'm saying is in a lot of places around the country, like Domino's is there's a lot of Domino's. In some places, like that's the only pizza place is like there's a Domino's, and yeah, that's the only place that will just deliver on a phone call. But in places like Seattle, we have Uber, but also it's like there are organic shit restaurants everywhere. Like it's just as convenient to go to Whole Foods as it is to go to like the normal grocery store
But
here.
I still disagree with this statement too, because I feel like pizza's in the realm of hot dogs and hamburgers, like cheap
Yeah,
shit,
definitely.
right? Like it doesn't cost a lot. And I feel like anywhere you go, I don't care. Like I've been, there are places middle America that have a town occupancy of like 1,000 people, and there's still something other than Domino's. Somebody's making pizza. It's one of those things. Like somebody's gonna be making pizza. It's just super easy to make, super easy to sell, super easy to make a business out of. Whether it's, I think it's just that it's consistent. So like people grow up on Domino's, or they did, and now it's like, and then you feed your kids Domino's.
That and I think
I don't know.
it's their coupons. Like that's something that
Oh,
I've noticed
that's
every
actually
time I go to Pizza Hut's the same way, but I feel like Domino's is even more aggressive. I don't think I've ever bought Domino's without a coupon because there's some coupon going on at all times.
that's a really good
There's
point,
and
actually.
it's also to the point where like I don't think Domino's has coupons or sales or anything. They just always have things. Like they're always like, "Oh, if you buy one medium pizza, get one for free right now." And it's like, "No, that's just how much your pizza is."
Yeah.
Like you're just saying it's that way, but in reality, it's just going to cost me $8 to buy two of your pizzas.
So it's the dollar menu. It's like
It,
that
it
kind
is,
of
yes.
advertising.
Domino's is everything's the dollar menu at Domino's.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean that it really influences people. The dollar menu for fast food really influences people to say, well, that's the cheapest thing, and it is. I mean, some of it is probably the cheapest stuff you can buy,
It's hard
and
to
it's
argue
fast.
with. Like in college, I hit up Wendy's 4 for $4 way too many times.
Yeah,
An unhealthy, ungodly amount of times.
yeah,
And I can't eat it anymore. But like, yeah, it was $4 and you get all this food. Like it's impressive.
yeah. Food that just makes you hungry again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. At least it's not the MSG anymore. That's the those were good old days.
It's good shit.
So, yeah, not a lot. So here's something that I've been doing. I've been playing Meat Boy, which I
I
didn't
saw
even know.
that.
Yeah, so I've been playing Super Meat Boy. I've actually really been enjoying it. If for some reason all my data got erased for Super Meat Boy, and I'm like, oh,
Nice.
you know what? I'm gonna beat this game again. And then I look in the news today when we were looking up stories, and Super Meat Boy Forever's coming out
Yeah.
right
I
around the.
thought that
It
already
comes out
came
this.
out, but
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it comes out this. Yeah, wasn't that surprising? It's been that long.
yeah.
It comes out this month. I don't know when, but I thought Super Meat Boy blows me away how good of a game it is. It's really good. Like
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the endless runner style will be as fun for Meat Boy, but we'll see.
it scares me a little bit that it's taking this long to put out a 2D
Yeah,
platform.
a 2D runner. Like
2D runner.
like it's one thing for the 2D platform, but it's a runner. Like you're not it's going forward and you press the A button. I'm
Yeah, I
sure
mean
there's
this.
more to the game, not denying that, but like come on.
I remember this in. I mean,
This
almost
was like
in
4 years ago
yeah,
that game was getting. I'm pretty sure
like
we played it at
18,
PAX or
right?
something. Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Wow.
long ago. Like it took so long that by the time we realized it was a runner, we're like, we're good. And I literally thought that was it coming out that year. I
Yeah, it
don't
was
know
supposed to
how it
come
didn't
out
come out.
way back when, and like there had to be like, and there's such a when they put out a game like that was so good. Super Meat Boy was a really good game and really well done. I thought they had the momentum and everything, and I guess something must have
Well, I
happened.
mean, I know the lead designer is not a fan of sequels. I mean, he left. He's not on
Oh,
this
did
one.
he?
Yeah,
He
he
did
went
leave.
and made
Okay.
The World Is Nigh and Binding of
Yeah, that's
Isaac,
right.
and
That's right.
yeah, he went off and did his own thing. Which that's fine. Like I can respect a game that comes and goes, and it's just like that's what it is. And Meat Boy is a timeless game.
That's I didn't know that he wasn't involved in this one.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think that the programmer is, because it was a two-man team.
Well, this started it all. I mean, this used to be a Flash game, right? Meat Boy was a Flash game,
Yeah, I believe
and
so.
that became Super Meat Boy, which was the reincarnation, which is a sequel. So I don't know what the hell he's talking about. Um, to Meat Boy, it was their recreation for consoles, basically. Whole new game, but still amazing.
Yeah. Let's see who's on the team. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who's on Team Meat anymore.
Team Meat. It's fine.
Not what's his name? Edmund, I think his name is. He's on his own thing. Tommy's the programmer, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, Tommy's the original programmer. So I don't know. I'm sure it'll be fine, but like it's crazy. It's taken so long.
Yeah, I really liked this company, or I really liked this series.
Oh, we're dumb. It's coming to consoles right now. It's been on mobile for a while.
Oh,
So when we were playing it, it was
oh,
yeah,
it was on mobile.
yeah,
I
it was
missed
literally
that
a
one.
mobile
When did
because
that
it's.
even become a thing?
I mean, it's a mobile.
But Super Meat Boy
Well,
went
maybe not.
straight
I
to
don't.
consoles.
Never mind. I thought maybe I can't read.
If
I
it came
don't
out
know.
on mobile, I didn't. I totally missed that because I would think that they would have better advertising. Yeah, 2008 was the Flash game by McMillan and McEntee, Jonathan.
Hmm. Maybe it wasn't a mobile game. I don't know.
That's okay.
Purchase now on the Switch and the store. So it's on the Nintendo Switch.
Oh, okay.
Available now. Yeah.
But it was this month, right? It came out this month.
It's coming out the 16th.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah. So they just gated the Xbox and PlayStation and Steam versions.
Oh, interesting that it was on the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah. Well, they were
'Cause
really indie friendly.
I even remember when the Mario Infinite Runner came out on mobile, but I
Oh
don't.
yeah, Super Mario Run.
Super Mario Run, and I think
That was an
everybody just
interesting
played the
game.
first level and then didn't buy. Did you end up buying the other levels?
I did. I mean,
Oh,
it was like Nintendo trying to figure out what they could achieve in terms of monetization, and they were like, "Well, can a mobile game be normal, where you just buy it for $7 and you get the whole game?" And everyone's like, "No, that doesn't fucking work on mobile. Why? It's just not how it works." And then they learned that very quickly, and then they made what was it, Mario Kart Tour or whatever, which was just microtransactions all over the damn place,
Oh, was
like
it? I
every other
never.
fucking mobile game, and that
Yeah.
makes them billions, like so much money.
Yeah.
And same with, oh no, that wasn't the game. I mean, that did make sense. That was the Fire Emblem game. That was just microtransactions everywhere, and then that sold so well. And it goes back to what we mentioned before. It's like we hate microtransactions, but there's a freaking large ass group of people who just keep buying them,
Yeah.
and we can't get away from it. And they're ruining it for everybody. And it's the same with Madden. Y'all just keep buying it.
No, I know. Well, I mean, it's like Fortnite. They just keep coming out with stuff that people will buy. I mean, the Stonks guy is now a playable.
I love that.
Did you see that?
That's what it was. That was the thing that was like
Stonks.
on April Fools, and then it was like, nah, this is legit.
That is a real thing.
And I'm
yeah.
like, okay, of all the things, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I mean it's hilarious, but there you go, and people will buy it, right? They'll pay money to have
Yep.
have that as their avatar. But it's weird. I don't know.
What a
I don't get
world we
it, but
live
I
in.
understand, and obviously it's a thing. I don't think I'm a regular human being like everyone else, because I don't get why people do the things they do. It's blows
There's
my
a
mind.
lot of questions in this world.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I maybe know, like I feel like I know why people do certain things, but there's so much more that I don't understand.
Yeah.
So much more.
Yeah. No, it's hard. It's hard to see. It's hard to see you people,
Jesus
but we'll
Christ.
keep talking to you.
You people.
Trying to you people who do things that we don't like.
Ugh.
Um, all right. Well, is there anything else? Is there any games you've been playing?
I
And I,
just can't stop playing Apex Legends, even though fuck their damn servers. Like I don't know if it's because they introduced crossplay, which is why I got back into it, but I've been having a blast playing it. But man, their servers are just trash.
what
Like
do you mean?
lagging. There's so much lagging, and it's
Oh,
just
that's dumb.
everybody. And I thought like, okay, what's my problem? And it's not a me problem. It's just like this whole season their servers have been just terrible. And I think it's because they, pushed out cross platform. So there's just stuff that they have to iron out. And that's fine.
Yeah.
And I'll be there to have them iron it out. But yeah, I just can't stop playing that. I don't think I've played anything else. I've tried to play the Doom DLC and it's really good. I just haven't found the time. And I've been busy anyways.
Yeah, it takes some time. The other one that had server problems was Outriders, which I haven't tried, but apparently
I've
they
been
got
here. I don't even know what the hell that game is. I just
it.
see
It's Square.
everyone
It's
playing
Square
it.
Enix, so that's the big thing, I guess, which is odd because it's not anything traditional to what their usual game is. But yeah,
Like I see
I don't know.
screenshots and it looks like Destiny.
I have no idea. I think that
Okay.
there's pickups and armor and blah. I think that there's. I don't know. I couldn't talk about it, but I know that people been. There was a lot of issues with their launch that people were all pissed off about. So hopefully, I think
Hmm.
that's coming around again. If it's on Game Pass, it's like whatever. If you
Outriders
at
is on
launch,
Game Pass.
it is on Game Pass. I
Holy
think it. I'm
shit.
pretty sure it's on Game Pass. Let me.
Well, I can get the demo. That's free.
Riders. Yeah, now on Xbox Game Pass. Yeah, so
Where
which kind of is a good way to go.
Christ.
That's the other thing that Xbox Game Pass does is if it has a shitty launch, it's kind of forgiven because it's almost like you're not paying for the game, even though you are. But it feels
Well,
like you're not paying for the game
it's
in the same way that you bought other games that didn't do so well this year.
yeah, and the weird thing about Game Pass that like Microsoft keeps publishing data about, and it's just like I don't understand why, is that they found that people spend more money when they have Game Pass for some reason. Like it's not because people are like, "Oh, it's the Netflix of gaming," and Microsoft's like, "But it's somehow not because with Netflix you pay once and you get all the movies and then you're done, and the next month you do it again." But with Game Pass, every like on average, if you have Game Pass, you spend more money on games, especially games on Game Pass. Like a
Oh, of
lot of
course.
people are like, "Oh, if I have, I just buy the game," and like that's happening so much. It's kind of weird. So it's tough for a developer to look at that and be like, "So people spend more money on this platform. I can have my game literally open to millions day one, which means streaming. Everybody can stream my game right away, and it becomes a huge success. It's
And
a
I think that
lot of money.
I think a lot of these because it's just the element of subscription based models is when you're subscribing to things monthly, you forget that the cost exists because with automatic payments and all this other stuff, it kind of goes in that unseen area of payments of overhead that we all have in our lives, and I think that it gives a lot of um, like cover for a lot of these like what I think if Cyberpunk would have come out on Game Pass, I think that they would have fared better. I think that even with all their problems, because there's something about just downloading it on your monthly subscription than buying a game. Also, for microtransactions, I don't know if there are microtransaction games. I know there are on Game Pass, aren't there?
Yeah.
But you would feel less like if you just like where normally you just spent the 59.99 or whatever on the game, and then it might deter you from spending more money in the game. But now it's just like, oh well, I just downloaded it, so I didn't really do anything. I got it for free, and
Yeah.
you didn't get it for free, but that's what it feels like. Um, so
Yep.
I don't know. I think that more companies are gonna see that they're making more money off of this, and there's just more security. I mean, I feel I don't care that Outriders had all these issues because I could just download it right now, or I can get rid of it. It's there, but there's hundreds of other games that I could play if it doesn't work right. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
So, all
Game
right,
Pass is the future.
it is, and excitingly so. All right, well that's it for me.
Yeah. Well,
Unless
we're
you got
just out of
anything,
time, so
yeah. So, all right. Well, thank you very much. We will continue to do this. Next Monday, we will have another show. And sorry for the missed Monday.
Yeah.
We'll make it up to all of you. All right.